What's happening, guys? This is Mike at Mike's Little Dragon Channel, and this is a look at all the new books I picked up this week. Finally got down to the shop on Friday and managed to pick up my books, and I wanted to go ahead and run through them. I know I'm a little bit late, but I had a pretty busy weekend. Went to a neighboring comic book shop. I stayed over, and I'm going to post those pickups later, but I thought for right now I would go ahead and do what I picked up. I picked up out of the dollar box this black and white copy of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina #1. This is one of the titles that Archie was putting out when they had their toes dipped into the horror genre, along with Afterlife with Archie, the Jughead Werewolf book, and the Vampire Veronica book. They had Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. This is a more, a more serious look at horror than the previous Sabrina stuff. This was also adapted into a Netflix TV show, which you may have watched. If you haven't watched, I recommend it. Very strong series on Netflix. I think it's 3 seasons or something like that. It's a good fun watch. So I picked up this issue out the dollar box. And then after that, I got a copy of this Black Panther trade paperback. It was a used copy, so they had it at $5. And then all their used trade paperbacks were 50% off. So I got that for $2.50. And then up next, Dennis Camp's Ultimates #20. This is heading towards the final showdown with the Ultimates and the Maker. They have that whole storyline going in the Ultimate Endgame miniseries that they've got going on, and this is just in the Ultimates right here. They're wrapping up a few loose threads outside of that main event, but this is the finale to the Ultimates universe right here, and this is issue #20. The Ultimates has probably been my favorite book out of all the titles. Well, I take that back. Now that I sit here and think about it, I probably enjoyed Ultimate Black Panther more than I enjoyed Ultimates. Those were probably my 2 favorite Ultimate books out of all the ones that were released in this most recent line. So, although not #1, the Ultimates high up on my list. I enjoyed it more than I did Ultimate Spider-Man. Inevitably, Ultimate Spider-Man just got incredibly disappointing to me towards the end, and Ultimate X-Men never grabbed me at all. So, but in any case, Dennis Camp's Ultimates #20 right here. Then up next, I had picked up this Avengers variant right here because it's got Storm on the cover. This is Avengers #34. This is a variant. Anyone that knows me knows that Storm is my favorite female, not only X-Men character, but also Marvel character in general. So this was an incredibly powerful variant. I like this portrayal of her right here. It looks very striking. So that was an easy pickup for me. And then outside of that, I've got, this is the regular issue right here, issue 34, Legacy issue number 800. The big hook for this right here is this has Brian Michael Bendis and Bagley back together for the first time in a long time, and this is also the big wrap up for Jed MacKay's Avengers run, which I have found, I was talking about this on Saturday, and Jed MacKay's Avengers run, I think it's going to read a whole lot better when it's collected as a type of hardcover or omnibus, because it's been such a very huge story with, a very wide cast of characters. You know, you had Kang involved in it, which means you had time travel, you had some multiverse dimensional type stuff, and all of that I think will read better in one setting than it will month to month. You know, so it is very, very cosmic as opposed to Jed McKay's Moon Knight, which is very street based to an extent, that is. But I think it'll read ultimately better when it's collected or whatever instead of month to month. Then up next we have issue number 5 of Beneath the Trees Where No One Sees. This is the Rite of Spring. This is the second volume that they did right here, and this is the wrap up to this miniseries, which I always recommend to people and compare it basically as Dexter. Then we have Uncanny X-Men number 22 right here. Brings back Mutina, a very cool supervillain that debuted a couple issues ago. Dungeons of Doom number 1. This is a spin out of the Emperor, or One World Under Doom, and this is kind of showing this is like an anthology book, and it is showing some of the secrets behind Dr. Doom stories that he, or not stories, but kind of like side tales involving Doom and the secrets he had going on in Latveria. So you got Benjamin Percy on here, you know you're going to be getting some horror, and that's basically what this is right here. Then up next, Amazing Spider-Man Torn number 4, the J. Michael Straczynski. This is basically a story that is kind of set in between the main continuity of Amazing Spider-Man, a story told back when he was originally in college. Very fun stuff. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a welcome, not really a welcome difference from departure from the regular Amazing Spider-Man, but it's good to see him. The regular Amazing Spider-Man has him in outer space. It's kind of good to see him back in college, like in the good old days, so to speak. So that's kind of a welcome trip down memory lane to an extent. Then I've got DCKO number 3. This is just the regular base cover, although I did pick up the Will Ospreay Firestorm cover. I got that last week before I should have, so I wanted to pick up the regular generic A cover because I want to keep that Will Ospreay variant for myself. Then up next, speaking of variants, I picked up this punk rock Supergirl variant. I thought it looked super cool. I was a big fan of the way that it's laid out. I like all the like the graffiti here, the way everything's kind of spelled, and just like that whole kind of punk rock graffiti style that they have here. That is the variant to this issue right here, Supergirl number 9, which is one of my favorite DC books. If you are a fan of Silver Age Supergirl, there are a lot of Easter eggs and references to that time in this book, but it also stands on its own. So this is I'm surprised that this is one of my most favorite books from DC out right now. Just really enjoy it. Really enjoy the fact that it is not dark and not as overtly violent as KO and the Absolute line is. It's a fresh breath, so to speak. Action Comics right here. It's Mark Waid on Superboy. This, to me, has its highs and lows. Sometimes you'll get a really good storyline. Well, not really storyline. Sometimes you get a really good story because most of these issues are one and done. And then the next one, you'll get one that's kind of not the best in the world. So But because it's Mark Waid, everything is always, nothing is very really groundbreaking, but it's all serviceable. But sometimes you do get one that's a little bit on the dull side. But it's Mark Waid. He can't beat it so bad, though, you know. Then I have Die number 3, Die Reloaded. I guess you would, or not Reloaded, Loaded number 3, the sequel to the 12-issue miniseries. I think it was 12, maybe more than that. That Kieran Gillen launched a bunch of years ago. Essentially, it is Jumanji. If you don't know, it's essentially Jumanji meets Dungeons and Dragons. Or if you're familiar with the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from the 80s, same type of concept here. And then I have got one more book here. That is Dreadnought War, or G.I. Joe, number 17. This is the last part of the Dreadnought War. This whole storyline here, all 5 parts of this, have been really enjoyable to me. Prior to this storyline, the book was kind of slow. It had some instances where it didn't really grab me, but this here has really picked it up. It's been cool seeing Cobra Commander having to work with the Joes begrudgingly, basically just to save his own skin. So Josh Williamson, with this storyline here, has really dug in and cranked it up a notch. Really good stuff. So that is everything I've got this week. I have got to go ahead and get started on these. I was out of town all day on Saturday at a different comic book shop, which I'll talk about at a later date. So I need to go ahead and read this week's books because Wednesday will be here before you know it. So till next time, you guys take care. I will talk to y'all later. Have a good night, and bye-bye.